kind of feeling day is historic day in terms of that our institute, Asia Institute, used for the first time the word movement. This movement initiated by Professor Singh. We don't know the way how our movement is going to develop. But I wish our initiative is going to reach endless. And without further ado, I will introduce Professor Singh, who initiated this movement, and Professor Emmanuel Pestreich, our director of the Asia Institute.
Okay, so I'll stand up if you don't mind. So I want to thank everybody for coming. 이렇게 오셔서 고맙습니다. And also thank Dr. Singh, who was the one who proposed 우리한테 이런 한반도 평화 운동을 제안하신 분. So I'm very honored to be with him here. 한국 사람도 많지만은 I'm going to speak, I think, primarily in English because we're making a short video, and everybody here is, of course, the important people historically for us, but the record for the world and for history is also important, and it's important that we do it well. So this is a very nice, beautiful day. Here we are at the Anguk. W stage is also very nice. But I think we should not be deceived into thinking that everything is fine in the world. We live in this particular historical moment. 이 순간에서 is a particularly, I think, dangerous and risky moment in the history, not only of recent history, but maybe in all of human history. And so the need to create peaceful possibilities for our future is extremely, extremely important, and it has to start somewhere. So I think there's no better way to start than to start here. I want to tell you that there have been enormous, I just came back from Japan about 3 days ago. I gave 3 talks in Japan. And the people that I met with there, I thought, were extremely concerned. Concerned particularly that if in Japan that the so-called self-defense forces and other military efforts are out of control, that there's increasing tensions in the area, and that the direction in general has been towards confrontation in Asia, but we're really talking about around the world, right? It's true in Syria, it's true in Ukraine, it's true many places in the world. So the question is, what do you do? 그런 경우에서 어떻게 하면 좋을까? 계속 고민이고, I'm not an activist. I'm just a professor, but I feel that as an intellectual, as people who have been lucky enough to get a good education, 그 좋은 교육을 받은 혜택이 있어서 그만큼 무슨 해야 될 그런 책임이 있다고 생각합니다. We have a certain responsibility to play a role, but to change a system in which it's moving towards confrontation, towards militarization, is not a simple thing to do. I mean, it's lots of people. We know in America they had a President Obama who said he was going to change everything and was unable to change anything. And I think the reason for that really is that change has to come from culture. In fact, where we are here in WCO, World Culture Open, is dedicated its organization to this idea that we have to start with culture. And so I believe very strongly, as I used the quote from Gandhi that I put out in the brochure and on our description on the website, but there was an interview with Gandhi in 1911 when he and a group in India started to campaign for peace and against the extremes of what was the British Empire was doing, which would lead to the First World War. Very, very serious time as well. And so somebody asked Gandhi, who you know for his tremendous contributions in his time and, of course, in history, they asked Gandhi, how many supporters do you have, right? They thought thousands, millions, right? He said, well, 20 maybe, but actually maybe 6, maybe 5. So in fact, numbers are really not important. It really is direction. But I think it really is important, and as Dr. Singh has said repeatedly in his writings, and I feel very strongly from the tradition of Gandhi, Gandhi said, let's wage peace. What that means, you say, of course, in English, wage war, right? So, but in the same way, that's to say, peace is not merely a matter of sitting down and doing nothing, but actually actively trying to create ways, more peaceful ways to approach issues, to create a more peaceful culture. And that is something that we really have lost over the last 50, 60 years, that we've lost that concept of working to create peace, create a culture of peace. And many of us are seduced, right? We see this beautiful environment around us, and we have coffee at Starbucks, and we forget just how dangerous an environment this is, how this could all change ultimately. And that the confrontations, they're now, Dr. Singh has sent me several articles written in like national interest talking about, oh, why don't we have a war with China, right? And when my friend Larry Wilkerson gave an interview recently, which he said that when they do the war games for possible conflicts with Japan or the United States with China, in 95% of the cases, it ends in nuclear war. So it's not, something fun to imagine. When I was a kid, I used to play with toy soldiers too. It's a lot of fun. But this is much more serious. So I think that's the main point that I want to make here. And I hope that all of you will think about this, and that going forward that we can do other things to help people to think about other possibilities for what could be the future of Asia, not just in terms of conflict, and not just in terms of building new weapons to make small numbers of people wealthy, but to think positively about what we can do to really construct a future. And particularly in Korea, a model for what is possible for the whole world. So we're going to start this event with a small ceremony. 조그만한 예식이 있어요. So what we will do is we will light the candle. 그래서 저쪽에 불 붙여서 한 1분 동안은 이런 세계 평화를 위해서 묵념, 기도하고. So for like 1 minute. 그다음에 끝난 다음에는 I'll count 1, 2, 3, and then you will throw the bird up in the air. Well, you can throw it at me, throw it up so it flies. 날아갈 수 있도록 해주시면은 고맙겠어요. And then that will be the simple but very significant launch of our peace movement. For me, thank you. For everybody. Okay? Like, you like that one? Excellent. So, can help me. All right. 그러면은 one minute? Okay, so please bow your heads and let's pray for peace. Done? Okay. All right, so I will count to 3, and then please everybody throw your bird up to welcome in peace and love. 1,
In the
2,
sky.
3. Thank you very much. So would you like to make
Yes,
some
yes.
comments? Dr. Singh?
I'll sit down.
Okay.